Today I want to discuss the debate between Ghalib Kamal and Qaiser Ahmad Raja on one of the most important scientific questions for any religion that claims to describe human origins. Is human evolution true? This is not a video about declaring a winner. Instead, I want to focus on the single issue that stood out to me and why I think it has profound implications for Islam. Ghalib's presentation centered on genetics, especially the evidence surrounding human chromosome 2. Qaiser challenged whether the evidence justifies the historical conclusion that humans share a common ancestor with other great apes. Listening to both sides, I found myself returning to one question. If chromosome 2 is genuine evidence of common ancestry, what happens to Adam? One point I appreciated is that the debate distinguished common misconceptions from the actual claim of evolutionary biology. Evolution does not claim that humans descended from modern monkeys. Rather, it proposes that humans and chimpanzees share a common ancestor. Whether that claim is true depends on evidence, not slogans. The chromosome 2 argument deserves attention because it is not simply about DNA similarity. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, while the other great apes have 24. Evolution predicts that if humans share common ancestry, two ancestral chromosomes should have fused. Human chromosome 2 appears to fit that prediction remarkably well. It aligns with two ape chromosomes and contains molecular features consistent with an ancient fusion event. While critics argue that this is still an interpretation, I have not found an alternative explanation that accounts for the evidence as well. Notice that I'm not claiming chromosome 2 alone mathematically proves evolution. Science rarely works that way. But if this evidence is as strong as mainstream genetics maintains, then it substantially increases the plausibility of common ancestry. And this is where the debate becomes much bigger than biology. The Qur'an does not merely mention Adam in passing. Adam is presented as a real historical individual, created from clay, the first human, the first prophet, the one before whom the angels bowed, and the beginning of humanity's story. If humans instead arose through evolution from earlier populations, then the Quran's historical account is not merely symbolic poetry, it is historically mistaken. Some Muslims respond by reinterpreting Adam as symbolic, or as merely the first prophet among an already existing human population. I understand why this move is attractive, but I also think it is telling. It is a reinterpretation driven by modern scientific discoveries, rather than the plain reading that Muslims understood for centuries. Every time external evidence pushes against a traditional interpretation, the text seems to become more metaphorical after the fact. If the Quran truly came from an omniscient God, I would expect the opposite. I would expect a description of humanity's origins that could naturally survive future discoveries, rather than requiring continual reinterpretation. Instead, the account looks exactly like what one would expect from an ancient worldview in which humanity began with a single specially created couple. My takeaway from the debate is therefore not that Ghalib demolished Qaiser, or that every objection has been answered. My takeaway is simpler. The burden is on critics of evolution to provide an explanation that accounts for the chromosome 2 evidence and the broader genetic picture, at least as well as common ancestry. Until that happens, I think evolution remains the stronger explanation. Ultimately, this debate reinforces a broader theme that has emerged throughout my channel. I'm constantly asking whether the Quran behaves like a revelation from an all-knowing God, or like a text produced within its historical context. On the question of human origins, if the scientific evidence continues to point toward evolution, then the Quran's account of Adam becomes one more reason for me to conclude that it reflects the understanding of its time, rather than divine knowledge. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments whether you think chromosome 2 is genuinely one of the strongest arguments for common ancestry, or whether you believe there is a better explanation that deserves serious consideration.